All right. Well, hello, 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 hello out there. How's everybody doing? Is everybody's favorite conservative in New York, Christopher Wright. And we are beginning for the CRA, for all my CRA patriots out there, the Conservative Republican Alliance. This is our first of a ongoing series of the local election series. And this is the first time, this first episode we're going to do. We're going to be doing an episode every Monday around 7 p.m. And we're going to have different local candidates running for the state of New York for you guys to go out and support. For today's first episode, I got a special guest here with me, a gentleman by the name of Justin DeFillippo. I want to let him kind of, give you guys a little background who he is and what he is about. So I'm going to go ahead and give him the mic.
All right. Well, first and foremost, Chris, everybody knows you're like a big up and coming star, if you will. I mean, for me to hear about you, because remember, I'm not a politician. You know what I mean? I'm not. I'm now becoming a politician as this process is going. But I mean, I'm an electrical contractor in New York City, and your name is out there a lot. So, kudos to you, right?
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
And the CRA as well. That's pretty cool that you guys got an alliance going on. My wife and I saw you guys on Twitter, and we're like, oh, that's awesome. I just too bad, you guys didn't start a few years ago. You know what I mean? Like when I don't know. I guess everybody woke up. I guess everybody's had enough, right?
I think that's what it was, man. Because I've been out here. I've been out in New York. I'm from Maryland originally, but I came to New York about 6 years ago. Oh. And living here, I saw like just a transition within 6 years of what was happening, and it got to a point where I was like, man, I wish I could get my voice heard. And luckily, I got my chance to get out there and get, my first video luckily went viral, and I kind of built up from there and eventually created the CRA. But yeah, you're right, man. Like I honestly wish I could have been out here a little bit earlier and really get the voices heard, man, because, New York, man, there was a lot going on to get us here. So yeah, I could have got out there earlier and kind of give people a heads up.
Jeez, yeah. But I'm one of those guys that believe in like everything that we did in life, got us here. Right. So I guess all the struggles, everything that happened in my life and your life got us to be talking on the internet right now. So, that's pretty cool.
No, everything happens for a reason, man. I agree with that, man. And, that's why, God set things up for a reason. And, he got his warriors out here fighting now for the cause. So, he's got gentlemen like me and you out here doing our thing. So, like I said, everything happens for a reason, and look where we're at now. So let's do what we got to do. Like I said, turn New York red is my main message right now for the CRA.
Yeah. So what was the question? The question was, who am I? Really?
Yeah, right? Yeah. Give us a little background, like growing up, high school, all that good stuff, man. Gives who you
are. I'm just some guy from Brooklyn, Gravesend, Brooklyn. I was a troubled youth. I went to like OES schools and things like that because we weren't allowed in public schools anymore because I was a fighter. I fought. I was a rebel. Everybody from my neighborhood and that whole area, South Brooklyn, was, a little rebellious, which is fine, because that's what you do as a young kid. You're a rebel. And I got into the construction field because, that's what you do. You're a rebel and you're like, all right, I'm not going to do a suit and tie job. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit in an office for 10 hours. So I got into the electrical field. And I've been doing it since I'm knee-high to a duck, and it just turns out I'm pretty good at it. So I have my own business now as well, called Just Electric NYC. But throughout these years, I've been a registered Republican my whole life, and I've just seen this city just go, further and further down the slide. Ever since Giuliani left office, it was just, I remember the whole deal with 9/11. From that moment of the changing of the guards, it really was, not good. It was going bad. Everybody was unified for a while, and then all of a sudden it's just out the window. And it started with these soft drinks. I remember Michael Bloomberg wanted them.
Oh yes, yeah. Tell people about that, man, because that was right before I got to New York, but I heard about it, of course.
Yeah, so it was like a nanny state. We couldn't have wood fireplaces. I know it sounds stupid and silly, but you know what? I own a home. I'm not allowed to have a wood-burning fireplace.
That's crazy.
It's just, you can't have a wood-burning. I don't know. Simple things like that. But here I am. You know what I mean? I'm not a politician. I'm a working guy. I want to go home. Maybe in Brooklyn I had a fireplace when I was younger. It's nice, Christmas time, whatever.
Right.
If I want to have a fireplace, it should be my right to have a fireplace. If I want to have a big gulp soda, that should be my right. I mean,
Facts. Facts. I agree with you on that
I'm
one,
not
man.
hurting anybody. I mean, you know. So it's like the guys like you and I, the workers, guys who are paying our taxes, the guys that, I have a pistol license. So we have to watch everything we do. We get a speeding ticket. We have to explain ourselves. Why did we get a speeding ticket? Or else they take your guns away,
Crazy.
right? In New York City.
Yeah, it is, man. They're strict
So
here,
it's
man.
like very strict. And every 3 years I have to go through the same process that I had to go through, interviews and background checks and this and that. And then every time I purchase a gun, I still have to do the same stuff. But we're treated like we're the criminals. And it's like, hold on, I'm the guy working. I'm the guy doing the right thing. I'm the guy that doesn't rob somebody. That doesn't, A to B. That's all I gotta do. But I'm getting taxed. I'm getting fines. I'm getting my insurances raised. This looking at me that I have to pay for all these silly ideas that they have. And what really got me into politics was, I hear like these AOCs and all these different people that are screaming loud, and the whole world is hearing them.
Oh man, you're not kidding,
And
man.
I've been really fed up with the Republican Party because I'm a registered Republican. I transferred to the Conservative Party. Nobody's doing anything. There's not one Republican in New York State, New York City, and that I could say like, you know what, I like that guy. He's saying something. You know what I mean? There's nobody there that I could relate to that says, maybe they represent me somehow, but they don't. You know what I mean? I'm not silver spooned. I don't want a silver spoon person representing me because they don't know the same struggles that I had. You know what I mean? They don't know what it's like to actually live paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean? Or actually have to pay, you have to think like, am I going to pay my electric bill or my car insurance?
Mm.
These are
Mm.
real things that we have to face. They don't know what it's like when, if you don't sweep in front of your store. Like these are real things. Like they'll bang you out for fines if you do one thing out of line. So it's like, hold on. I'm going to let this silver spoon person who's never had to deal with any of the same things I've had to represent me. How could they represent me if they don't know who I am? They don't know who we are. The person I'm running against is not from my district. It just turns out I'm from my district, born and raised. I moved to Staten Island. I'm still in the same district. I can't even leave my district. And then you got somebody from Astoria, Queens, or wherever she is from in Queens representing me. And then on top of that, she's not a mother. She doesn't have any children.
Wow.
So how are you going to represent my best interest and my children's best interest if you don't have children? How could you tell anyone anything if you don't have children, how you should raise your children? That's like, what are you talking about? So you have these people in power that are saying, they're putting legislation out there, mandates for vaccines and things of that nature, and they don't even have children. They don't have children, so they can't turn around and be like, I don't want my children learning that in school. I don't want my children doing Common Core. No, of course not, because they don't have any kids. So, whoever the donor is, that's which way it's going. Like this vitamin K. I couldn't leave the hospital with my children unless they got vitamin K shots. And then they would have taken my children away from me if we didn't get them vitamin K shots as medical neglect or something along those lines. So I guess we had to get vitamin K shots for our kids. You think? You come right out of the womb, and they got to get shots right away. It's a sick, sick world out there. And a lot of people are making a lot of money off of us. And, the team that I thought we were on, that I thought I was in is not playing ball. And if they're playing ball, it's not for us. So that's why I'm here. I said enough is enough. I had it because if I can't win this election, nobody's fighting for us. Then I'm out. I'm leaving because there's nothing to do here then. They're just going to keep on coming after me. They keep going to raise all my taxes. Everything's going to go up on me, and I'm going to still be the bad guy. Next, they're going to take my guns. I'm sure they will.
They're kind of already trying their best, man.
I'm already limited to what I could purchase. I can't even buy a rifle. You know, like, yeah, I have a license for a rifle, but I can't get an AR-15, which is like the, you know, anybody who's into guns. I mean, that's the platform. I mean, that's the all-around platform.
That is
You know,
everybody like listen to this, man. This is important. AR-15, man, because I was down south. I had a few friends with AR-15s, man, and we go out in the backyard and shoot like it was no thing. It was like,
yeah,
and then when I moved up here, I didn't. I wish somebody would have gave me a heads up because I didn't
yeah,
realize how strict New York was when it came to the guns, man. Till I got here,
right,
I don't want to speak too loudly, but I don't have a firearm at the moment. I'm trying my best to get one, but it's like, man, it's like pulling teeth here, trying to get a
yeah.
pistol. Oh my gosh, forget about it. A rifle. It's a little easier process, as you know, but it's still a difficult process. It's insane,
Well,
and it's
actually, the
like
rifle took me longer to get than my pistol, but that's a
really.
different story altogether. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole different interview right there, right? Oh my goodness, yeah, guys, man. I get quick for the patriots out there in New York. They don't play around when it comes to getting firearms here, man. It
yeah.
is a headache.
And then after you do get it, and let's say you want to buy another one, then you have to write a letter, literally a letter, to them, mail it to them, and then they got to mail you something back saying, okay, it's okay that you go and buy this gun. Then you have to take that letter. You have to go to one PP. Then they give you another letter. Then you have to go right to the gun store, purchase your gun, then leave the gun store and go right to 1PP for inspection. And if you slip up of any of those things, you have an unlicensed firearm, unregistered firearm. So it's wacky, man. It's like a whole process just to do something. That's why it's like
Really
I'm not
is.
even, I have three handguns. I don't even want any more, because it's just too much of a headache.
No,
We went
I
out to
totally agree.
Texas. You go to Texas, we did 3-gun competitions and stuff like that. I mean, that's a good time. I shoot trap out here. It's a good time. There's nothing malicious or scary about it. It's all right. The First Amendment doesn't have a license, does it? I mean,
Hey,
so
that's true, man. Very good point there. And it's like if one has a license, why don't the others? Because they're supposed to
yeah,
be American citizens' rights just off the rip. There shouldn't be a license to
right.
the person to have
No, not be
own a
infringed.
firearm in this country, man.
Yeah,
And that's why our forefathers designed it. But we got very liberal states out here, like where we live, and they want to change the rules around to more leftist kind of narrative. And
yeah,
but the criminals here, they can just go right down the street and get a gun if they need one. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Ain't no hassle for
That's
them.
But if it was a level playing field, and everyone had their rights, I think crime and things like that would be a lot different. Um, that's just me. What was it? Sam Colt made everybody equal, or Browning made everybody something along those lines. But even New York City is a separate. It's like a separate state because like my licenses don't work outside of New York City, just like my business license does not work outside of New York City. So I'm not allowed to do electrical work upstate New York. Anywhere outside of New York City, I'm not allowed to do electrical work. I mean, what's the point? I just don't understand what makes my business not qualified to do electrical work in Westchester County. So these are things that need to be addressed in Albany. We should have statewide licensing, whether it's for a pistol or electrical contractor or whatever you do. It should be a statewide license. It shouldn't be. I mean, if anything, I would love it to be nationwide, but let's work with New York first.
Yeah, that's true. Real talk, man. Real talk. And I can talk to you about this all day, man, because like I said, I'm dealing with it on a personal level as well. So I got stories to tell as well. But you really cleared up a lot of things for people out there, listeners out of state are listening to right now, and they really see like, wow, you guys really got to go through all that just to get a firearm. It's
Yeah.
insane. And so it kind of brings me on to my next question a little bit. And you spoke about it a little bit, but I kind of want to get the details. Like for you, like what was your moment where heard you talk earlier. You were a Republican here in New York in the past, and you kind of came to Conservative Party. What was that red pill moment for you, where you were like, you know what, I can't do it no more, man. You guys don't represent what I represent. I'm just going to do over here to Conservative Party and see where I can get done.
I mean, I had some issues with the two parties, the Brooklyn and the Staten Island Republican parties, which it is what it is. I don't mind. It's fine. And then I was speaking to the Conservative Party and really looking more deeply into the values of the Conservative Party. Now, for some reason, the Conservative Party, a lot of people don't even realize that it is a party, that because in New York, what you hear is Republican or Democrat, Republican or Democrat. I mean, I
Yeah.
still have people that I speak to, and they're like, "Oh, you're conservative, but do you like Trump?" You know, like they always
Mm.
they don't
Right.
realize that.
Instantly they go boom, 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 like right there.
So, so you have to explain that to people, which is fine. Uh, but realistically, the values I follow, I think I'm more of a conservative at the end of the day. I believe in less government. I believe in, no taxation without representation. I want the rights to pursue happiness, and I don't want them to be infringed by anyone. And I really felt like from the meetings that we've had with the Conservative Party, they were the ones really looking to make a change here, and that's high praise because I'm not an easy person to win over, if you will, and I got to give them credit. I mean, they're backing me, and you wouldn't back someone like me unless you're serious about change because I'm not playing by the same political rules. I don't have to be nice to some other politician because they're not helping me. It's not even like I need their help. I mean, in general, if you're an elected official and I'm still here, then you didn't do your job. And that's why I'm here, because we need to fix this place. So that's the way I look at it. And they gave me carte blanche to do what I got to do to win.
No, I
So
totally agree with you. I totally agree with what you just said right there. I'm registered as a conservative myself, not even a Republican. And like you say, you hear my intro, I tell you, I'm everybody's favorite conservative in New York. Let that be clear, because if a politician runs and he doesn't run on conservative values and he's a Republican, he won't get my vote.
yeah,
Like, when I saw the ideology of conservatism and what it stood for, I said, this represents me. So
right,
I stand for conservative ideology. I am a conservative. But if you are a politician, you want to play the political games and participate in that nonsense, and you
yeah,
just want to run and try to get a vote, then you're not going to get my support. I don't care if you're
yeah,
Republican, Democrat, Libertarian. I don't care what you are.
yeah.
And that's why I'm glad you made that clear. I wanted to bring that up. And how long have you been in the Conservative Party, like in years wise, or do you remember how long it's been?
Yeah, no, I switched over, a year. I think it's been. Remind you, I didn't even realize that the Conservative Party was that active. And, I always said like that was a problem in itself because if I didn't know, because remember, I'm just an electrical contractor. I'm just the guy trying to raise his family in New York.
Everyday American, man.
And, so did I get involved in politics and things like that? No, I watch the news, I do what I got to do. I see what's what. And, all you hear is Republicans, Democrats. You don't hear about libertarians. The only time you hear about libertarians is you hear Larry Sharpe.
That's
You
very
know,
true. That's very true. The only
so
time you hear the libertarian name pop up.
yeah, that's pretty much it. Or the guy, and they always show that clip. I forgot his name. He ran for president, and he fake fainted or something like that on stage. I don't even know.
Oh,
Johnson, was it Johnson? I think.
yeah, yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness, man. Yeah, that was a name drop right there. I heard that name in a while.
yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, listen, it was funny. It was
it
funny,
was.
but
It was. But no, I totally understand. Man. You got to do what you got to do, I guess, when you're in those parties, man. But I'm a big fan of two party system. We're used to two party system, but I'm a fan of just different parties, man. You don't have to just to me
yeah,
have two parties. If there's many voices from different angles, and if you fit a certain political party more than another one, you should be able to run into that party and have a good chance of winning. I don't, it's unfortunate right now. It seems like the people only have a good chance of winning had to be on the Republican flag or Democrat flag. And it should be like, it should be multiple flags because what happens is, as you can see with our current situation, is you got establishment Republicans, you got establishment Democrats. And, as time goes by, if those politicians know there's nowhere else to go, you got to either vote for us or them, then they get to a point where they say they get cocky in a way. They look at you
yeah,
like you have no other option. And that's why I tell people all the time, like I'm in New York, been in New York 6 years, man. And I've been in politics for the past 3 years. I've been heavily into politics here. And what I'm noticing in New York, especially, is New York has an establishment GOP that's just as dangerous as the Democratic Party here.
without a
Like
doubt.
they will cut your throat before you even get to a Democrat. Forget people all talking about like, oh, what happens if you run against this Democrat so and so? It's like if I even get to that person, like somebody in the GOP might cut my throat before I even get that far.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like it's something where people they really got to wake up and see the bigger picture and see that if we want to get things done in this state, we got to do things. We got to step up and kind of do a grassroots kind of campaign thing and just get the citizens together and just get our voices heard that way. Because that's the only way we're going to be able to do it. And, you know,
that's another big thing is that, you know, they have a very cocky attitude. Like, yeah, that's it. You know, Republican, GOP, and that's it. You're not going to do anything. Yeah. Well, I hope this whole thing takes them down a peg or two. We'll see.
No, I agree with you that. And a real quick shout out to my man Derek Gibson. He's running for governor in New York. And a couple years, he just said the GOP in New York sucks.
Yeah.
So, you know, I talked to Derek many times on different occasions. You know, we had this conversation, and that's why, you know, if you know, for those who don't know, the CRA, we're doing the Turn New York Red rally.
Yeah.
And the reason why we're doing that is because, you know, we want to get New York. You know, we want to get New York. We're in a deep blue sea here. You know, I mean, New York City pretty much determines what happens in New York State. Upstate is a pretty red area, but New York City it's all blue except for Staten Island. And they kind of dictate what the whole state is when it comes to what's going on. So I want to turn New York red, but I don't want to turn it red in terms of, oh, we're establishment red. I want to turn it red where it's like, I'm out here grassrooting. And that's why I did what I'm doing with you right now with the, you know, our weekly podcast is I want to show people candidates who are just everyday Americans who are running here in New York, who are running under the conservative flag, even maybe, you know, the Republican flag, but they're not establishment. They're just everyday Americans who are running, who really want to help change New York. So, you know, CRA, we have your back. And that's the reason I started CRA. I started because at first to get conservatives in New York together, because I was doing my videos, people reaching out to me in New York. Hey, I'm a conservative. I thought that I was the only one. You know, I'm glad you did this. You know, so I got a group to link them all together. But now that we're linked together, it's time to go and attack and make change. And grassroots campaigning is where it's at. So I don't want to just be out here talking. I want to show the fellow CRA patriots, hey, you know, we're out here rallying, we're doing what we do and all that good stuff, but we got candidates here as well. So check these candidates out, support these candidates, get out there, register. If you're not registered already, Republican or as a conservative, but get out here and support these candidates, man. It's not just talk about it. Let's get action done, man, because if we got to depend on the establishment GOP for change to happen in New York, it'll never happen.
It would have happened already. We wouldn't have gotten to this point if they would. That's why I brought up AOC in the beginning. It's like, because you hear them on their side and they're loud. Why is nobody? Listen, I'm from Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Supposedly these people all from here. They're from the same neighborhood as us, right? I don't hear them. I'm a loud guy. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Nobody's fighting for us.
Yeah, and then we knew that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and I agree. I'd say give me the real New Yorkers from here, man, that just get out there and got a strong voice over another politician that just, you know, might not even be from New York, but just here, and I mean from the district they're trying to run for, but it is here trying to play the same political BS. Yeah. I'm done with that. That's the reason why I support Trump so much, is because he was a brash truth teller. Like I tell people all the time, give me a brash truth teller over an articulate liar any day of the week. Yeah. And I'm tired of political BS, man. Give me those real talk people, man. We need the real deal Americans here.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear, like, I watched the Senate and everything like that, and you got to hear the stuff that happens. It's just like nobody says anything. You know, I would be there. I'd be like, oh, what are you talking about? We're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
So, I guess call me old fashioned, but you know, I think we got to go back to basics here in New York. We really got to go back to basics, meaning simple stuff. We got to work with our military. We got to work with our law enforcement. We got to enforce the rules that are on the books. We got to get rid of a lot of laws that they put on the books recently because it just doesn't work. I mean, so we got to go back to basics. I mean, even taxing. I mean, I believe, first of all, I don't like taxes at all, but if I had to do something, it would be a flat tax across the board. Call it a day. You know, it should be fluctuating. You know, if I'm paying 10%, you pay 10%, everybody pays 10% and call it a day. But, you know, I have a lot of ideas. But am I going to have help in the Senate? I don't know. We'll see. But you know what? I'll be loud enough and you'll be hearing me on Fox and things like that. And
I'll be hearing you on my YouTube channel, man. You know, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Getting New Yorkers in there, the real deal New Yorkers in there. And if the mainstream media doesn't want to help them get their voices heard, I'll help them get their voices heard. Because we don't need the mainstream media, man.
You'll hear DeFillippo was dragged out of the courtroom in cuffs with a baseball bat.
Yes, and I'll be streaming all over the place. Make America great again, baby. We in here, man.
I'll be like the Warriors outside of Albany. Cuomo.
Yes. Where you at, Cuomo? Hey, I'd rather have that than have the Freedom Tower lit up pink because of postmortem abortion any day of the week, man, like they're doing right now. It's crazy what's happening here in New York, man.
So I don't know if you know that they did that article that mentioned me in Forbes and all these other media outlets.
No, I didn't hear about that. Tell me more about that.
Because I followed a Q. I don't know if you followed a Q. Or...
Oh yeah, no, you don't know. Yep.
Okay, all right, yeah. So they put me in
I'm
there.
definitely that dude. I'm into those, people, all conspiracy theorists or whatever, man. I look deeper into everything.
Yeah, they just connect the dots for us. That's all. But long story short, I mean, we gotta do something about abortions. It's just, I mean, I'm a father. I'm a parent. I just think it's bad. I think we can't have funding to these Planned Parenthood or anything like that. So I'm pro-life 100%. And if that makes me lose votes, then so be it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to change for that. So, but it's just sick. It's a very sick thing that what they want to do about with these abortions, about supposedly late term. You mean like after you give birth to the child, they want to? That's just murder. I mean,
no, it really is, man. And a lot of Democrats I know. I mean, I respect my father to the fullest. Army veterans, as conservative as you can possibly get as a human being, votes Democrat because of this brainwash, unfortunately, with the black community. But when I tell him about the Democratic, what's going on in New York City with the policies they're passing, and I told him about late term abortion, post-mortem abortion, and what's happening, he was like, "What the heck? I don't support that craziness." I'm like, "Dad, if you vote Democrat, you're supporting this craziness." Like, and not only are they passing these bills, but they're celebrating when they pass these bills and giving standing ovations in Albany and in the Congress building there, and lighting up the Freedom Tower pink when they pass these things. It's not even about they're passing it or are they going to do it or not. They're doing it and they're celebrating it. Yeah. So, and once you educate people on that, people are really like, whoa, what the heck am I, what am I kind of doing in a way? But it's shocking how many people have no clue about what's going on. And not only that, is when they do these postmortem abortions, they don't even speak to the father if they ask him if the father wants the baby or not. They only speak to the mother only. And if the mother says kill the baby and the father wants it, it's the mother's choice. So I guess woman's choice there.
It's nuts. So I don't know if you know, but so my mom, so I'm half black, half white, and biracial. So my mother's side, which is Trinidad and things like that, they all vote Democrat, but they agree about all these other issues, like they agree that abortion's bad, and they agree that you should have guns and things like that. But it's like saying, what are you voting Democrat for? I don't understand. But I let them watch like the Prager U videos.
That's smart. That's a good way to get the kind of red pill people slowly but surely. Those Prager U's.
Yeah, about the Republican Party, and so I try. What are you gonna do? I mean, I got a lot of them to convert to the Conservative Party, but they probably still vote Democrat. I don't know. I can't.
We never know, man. we won't know until the time the voting booth comes out, and we'll see when the statistics come. But hopefully, the red pills are, our family and friends are taking them because I've been giving them out as much as I can as well too. Yeah. And Justice Susan and Prager, you are big hands in that. But let me ask you this next question here: is why should New Yorkers vote for you instead of the Democratic opponent that you're running against?
Well, she's been in office for 15 years. 15 years. So I believe in term limits. That's another thing. So 15 years, and if you could turn around and tell me that what she's done for 15 years worth of tax money, I mean, over $1 million we paid her out of our taxes, then listen, I'll bow out of the race. I'll just say, all right, you got it. But you can't name one thing that she's done that benefited me, my family, your family, the area. You know what I mean? She gives out masks that we paid for. Taxpayers, the New York State Senate gave out mask and hand sanitizer. Guess what? That was our stuff. You just gave out free stuff to get votes. You know what I mean? Like, this is the sick stuff that they do. I saw she's in the projects giving out hand sanitizer and mask.
And she probably hasn't been to projects her whole candidacy, but she pops up here during the COVID to show, hey, look, I care. I'm here. Like, give me a break.
People see through this. I mean, I hung out in the projects. It's one thing to go there, pandering votes. I used to hang out there, Marlboro, Sheep to the houses. You know what I mean? Like, that's the stomping ground. I'm from the area. You know what I mean? She's just going there just to butter people up. But if anybody could turn around and say, like, NYCHA is a better place than it was before with her 15 years. You're in office 15 years and you're complaining about things that are going on. Listen, you're the one that's been in there for 15 years. 15 years, and you're telling me, you still got complaints? Then you're not doing your job.
Yeah, see, and so many politicians do that. They're blaming Trump for all this stuff like that. And some of them have been there more than 15 years. Some are 25, 30 years they've been in there. And they're talking about Trump this, Trump that. I'm like, Trump wasn't even considered a candidate at one point when you guys were in office and you guys were elected. You did absolutely nothing. So,
Right.
This whole orange man bad nonsense, I don't want to hear it. It's like you had the power. You had the situation where we put you where you can make moves and do things for the country and America and your citizens of your state. You guys did absolutely nothing. So now I don't want to hear that, oh, Trump is the reason behind this happening or this happening. It's been like this for years. Give me a break.
Yeah, and then I guess when it comes down to it, so why vote for me? Well, I'm from the area. I'm from here. I was born and raised here. You know what I mean?
I hear you, man. That's
So
important.
that's like you're from Queens. You can't relate to me and my district, Sheepshead Bay, Bath Beach. This is where I lived, Gravesend. Even parts of Bay Ridge, North Shore, Staten Island. What do you got? You got nothing. Yeah, for 15 years supposedly. You probably rent a studio apartment with your cats, and you know what I mean. You go and you do your thing.
I hear you.
So what can I offer that she can't? Well, I'm a fighter. I fight. I'm not interested in making friends. Do you have to make friends? Yeah, but does that mean that I have to make friends and I don't want to get what I need to get done? If I can't do it, then they're my friends. I don't even want friends. I'm married. You know what I mean?
I hear that.
What do we need a friend for in the political realm? I want to set forth bills. I want to say no to bills and go from there. If everybody, in the party and all the constituents believe that, hey, this is what we got to do, then rock and roll. Let's do it. You know what I mean? I'm going to actually talk to the people as opposed to this one. This one, nobody even knows who she is. When I tell people I'm going against Savino, they're like, who? Who? I don't know. Who? Was that Owl here? I don't know. I'm over here. So.
No, you make a very good point, man. Like we need people that run in for office locally that are from the area, man, because they know firsthand. They grew up in it, they lived in it, they breathed it in, everything, man. They know the city, man. So it's like we need people like that instead of these people that are coming, not even living in a district, trying to run this areas and have no clue about it because they're not going to have any heart in it. They're not going to have any care for it because they're not from there, and that's why you see AOC when she won a district, she probably came back 2 or 3 times since she's been elected. And it's just for propaganda, just to walk around and show her face and try to get votes. So enough is enough, man. We need people that once they get voted in, they're going to be right back in the city as soon as they get voted in, like they haven't left. So, then that kind of brings me to my.
Well, hold on 1 second. Red Pill, really quick, is funding her is Soros.
Talk about it.
Out there. It's out there. Everybody could see. You could just put it in her name, Savino, Soros. That's her money. And on top of that, she's backed. And I just put this up recently. I'm not sure if you saw it on Twitter, but she's the unions for police officers are funding her. Right? Wow. So New York State Troopers, PBA, SBA, they're all funding her. Yet she just keeps stabbing them in the back. So you do the back to blue and things like that. And, we're pro law enforcement. Democrats are not pro. They want to dismantle it.
Yep, they want to defund it. They already have defunded the police here.
Yeah, they have. But yet the union heads go Democrat. So I just posted a picture on the Twitter there of a letter an email I got from the New York State Troopers about them saying that Diane Savino, they're going to endorse her. And she's the one that just took money away. And she just went for the bail reform, talking about, the defunding of the police and restricting them more and more and more. They keep on giving them money. You guys see the money that this lady makes in donations from Soros, from the police unions, from every union you can imagine, from Planned Parenthood. This is not a business to me. I'm not interested in the money. I'm an electrical contractor. I don't need the money. This is not about that. It's about making this place safe and sane that I could raise my kids here. And me and my wife could have a good time. That's it. It's not about becoming a millionaire. I think that people forgot that it's not it's not a job that what do they say? Never trust a rich politician, right? If you got rich from politics, you're a crook. That's the old saying.
Amen.
Oh, all right. Sorry about that rant, but that's
No,
the
no,
shortest thing I
no.
got.
That was a needed rant. People need to know about the establishment, the globalists out there, like the Soroses of the world and the Clinton Foundation money of the world, campaign. A lot of these leftists here in New York City's campaign, and people aren't supporting them. It's the establishment that supports them. And the only way we can beat that, in my opinion, on the right, is we got to go grassroots. We got to just get the people involved. You can have the establishment money, we'll have the people, and that's how America's gotten through all the dramas it's had in the past. Is the American people united, and we got things done. So that's what we're going to do when it comes to the
can't be
future
silent
elections.
anymore. Everybody loves saying silent majority, silent majority. Yeah, we're silent because I think that we're kind of like the guy that's in the back of the bar. That it's like you don't know what this guy's been through. Maybe leave him alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's not talking too much. He's being to himself. I recommend
Right.
leaving him alone. Just leave that guy alone, man.
Yeah, because he's the guy that just gets up and just cracks people. He doesn't even talk about it. So I think it's our time that we start cracking people eventually because something's got to give here.
I totally agree with that, man. I absolutely agree. And this kind of leads into my next question for you. And it's, what's the first thing that first thing you're going to do when you get elected to state senate?
What am I gonna do? What do you mean, like a party or something like that? I don't know. I mean, we gotta see.
That's going to be the very first thing. Hey, I'm down. You got to invite me first, but yeah.
One of my biggest things, and I always go back to this, is that if we don't have our Second Amendment, anybody could do anything they want to us because we're not armed. Force vaccines or whatever. I want to get us armed again. Okay, I want our gun rights back. Because nobody's going to start pushing against the mass if they're armed. I mean, that was why the Second Amendment was there, right?
There you go.
So I really want to tackle that. I really want to end the SAFE Act and get us our gun rights back. So that's really priority for me because safety is number one. I don't, money we can make, dealing with taxes we could deal with, but if we don't have our lives, you know what I mean?
That's step one right there. If I'm not living, how can I pay tax if I ain't living? New York are probably still trying to find a way to do it, but I totally agree. And that's something I see a lot of people in the grassroots who are running here in New York. That's what they're pushing as well. Shout out to my man Derek Gibson, by the way. That's something he's big on. Second Amendment rights. If he gets in there, Second Amendment. So that's what we really need to push for, man. Because that's, like I said, man, we need to protect ourselves. Because you see what happened with this whole bail reform here in New York. It just happened in New York. All these criminals are out in the streets. Crime has increased by like 600%. Pedophiles, crazy stuff, man.
Yeah.
The 1 year old that got killed. It's insane, man.
That was really terrible. And listen, it's all terrible. It's all terrible. But I mean, especially when it's a child. But I mean, anybody lose their life in general is a terrible thing. But what can we do right now? We can't do it. Our hands are tied with everything. Our hands are tied. God forbid I was to walk out of my house with my pistol, even though I'm legally allowed to have it and licensed to have it, and it's my gun. I'm not allowed to carry it because I'm in New York City. I would be put in every newspaper as who I am. But if Joe Schmo down the block has a gun that's not licensed, serial number scratched off, get the desk appearance ticket. If he goes looting in the stores, no charges.
Gets released the same day if he gets arrested.
Yeah, I mean, listen, one of my job sites got broken into, and the cops were like, "Well, what do you want us to do?" What do you mean? I love it when they always say like, "Oh, well, if someone robs you, just give them everything you have." Okay, so when the mortgage company calls them, I'd be like, you know what? You guys, the government told me I had to give them everything, so I gave them everything. I can't pay you guys.
I wonder how long that's going to last if you tell them that. On our end, how that's going to work.
It's always like that. We have to bend to the criminal, and then as soon as but instead I'll get a ticket for tints. You know what I mean? You
True
know,
story, man. True story.
but I get punished because I drive a car. I'm a bad guy because I have a car. I have a big F-150. Oh, that's
Oh,
bad.
how dare
Believe me.
you, New York? Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
you are the devil in New York
yeah,
City with your
yeah.
big
But I need
F-150.
these big ties to go over the needles. You know what I mean? Because all the needles stack up. That's another thing. There's needles everywhere. I like to wear flip flops. I can't wear flip flops nowhere. It's dangerous.
No,
I
no.
know it sounds stupid, but it's true. I mean, God forbid, I'm a hypochondriac. I can't get poked with nothing.
Oh man, and it's so true. It's crazy out here, man. Like Manhattan I went to Manhattan the other day. It looks like what's it called, man, in California, man. The alley they have out there, man. Like
The mission
you
over
know,
there.
yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's like a stretch, man, of just heroin addicts, and you know what I mean. It was like I was walking through Manhattan, like, what is this, man? Like this Manhattan, like 8 months ago, we had tourists from Japan taking photos, and
Oh,
people,
Skid Row.
everybody.
I'm sorry. You're talking about
Skid
in
Row,
LA,
yeah,
Skid
Skid
Row.
Row.
Yeah, yeah.
It's looking like
I
Skid
was thinking
Row,
about
man.
San Francisco. They have the Mission district that's like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah. Well, they got so much in California. You got to be specific. Unfortunately, they got so many crazy areas
You're
out
right.
there.
You're right.
But it looked like Skid Row in Manhattan, man. And it was like there's homeless people from time to time. You see them out there in Manhattan, but this was different. This was like I had to like take my headphones off and like look around, like what is going on, man? Because it was crazy. And I know like it was near Fifth Ave. I'm like, there's people here that have money and they're living like imagine like coming out of my you know 35th floor luxury apartment and
Yeah.
I just get threatened by somebody right in front of my building like and that's what's happening right now and people don't realize that. I tell people like it's going to like Manhattan's going to be Baltimore if it keeps going the route it is going like in a heartbeat. It's heading that way.
Yeah, I don't think these people, and that's what gets me upset too, is that even the politicians, they don't live like us. You know what I mean? It's numerous times I have to take the train as opposed to driving my truck in. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Even though I have commercial plates, just sometimes it's hard. You get on that train, it's like you're part of the food chain now. You know what I mean?
Oh man, you're not kidding.
So, but you can't carry any weapons on you, so it's ready to fight. I mean, I got stabbed in the head. Uh,
Whoa.
a train incident. I told you I've been a fighter my whole life. So
You New Yorker, I
happened
can
on the
tell me you
train.
going back down.
So it's rough. And people think that just just go. It's no problem. It's like they know that you're not part of the Antifa, so they're gonna try to mess with you or something like that. But I don't know. Who knows? I drive my truck. I get the big conservative sign on there. Nobody ever says anything to me. But if we're on the train, it's a different story. That's like no rules and between stops, it's like here we
Oh
go.
yeah.
I mean,
And when
listen,
did
I've
you
had many fights between Brooklyn and Manhattan on the Manhattan Bridge. It's like as soon as you pass DeKalb, it was like, okay, here we go.
Oh, here we are. We
That's
here
a
now.
long ride.
Yeah, man, that's a long. That the Fulton Street is a long stop. The Fulton. Oh yeah, man, you ain't kidding, brother.
So,
Yeah, man. See, and that's why we need patriots from New York, man, to get in there, man, because you get, like I said, we know firsthand. We live it every single day.
yeah,
These people that are in there, established politicians in there now, they have no clue what's going on here, man. They sit from the ivory towers and they make these demands and they just say these like De Blasio. Just every other day, it's something crazy demand he makes. And like, I'm like, what the heck are you doing? Like, what does this have to do with us as Americans living here in New York City? This has nothing to do with us. It's nothing to do that's going to benefit us. You are literally doing something just for yourself to pander. And it's just like,
yeah.
Enough is enough, man, because this guy, I see people on the left and the right that can't stand De Blasio. I don't know what is wrong with this guy. This guy's a communist to the fullest
I
extent.
was gonna say you're saying his name a little weird, De Blasio, but that's not even his name. He changed his name how many times already? Just like
Exactly.
AOC. What are they hiding? AOC, that's not a real name because she's from Westchester. Nice
Yeah.
Silver Spoon family. I feel like it's 8 Mile and she's like Papa Dop or whatever that guy was. He went to private school. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
right. So
Exactly.
you don't relate to the same people either because she went to private school in a gay community. Whoa. Yeah, but you represent the people in Queens? I don't know.
I don't know how that works. I don't know how that works, man.
But De Blasio, another one. And, his wife, she changed her names a few times too. You'd think they would change their names together so it matches, but whatever.
No, they're both radicalized, man. And you know, what I mean, like I honestly, and don't talk about her daughter. I'm not being disrespectful, but she's just, I saw that face. You know the deal. She's all over internet, showing her private parts on the train and
Yeah.
just, yeah, man. So it's like if you
Yourself
produce
piss
that,
pot. Hey.
Yeah, she got those crazy leftist eyes too, man. Those leftists had the AOC and all of them. They got them crazy eyes, man. I don't know
Yeah.
what's wrong with those people on the
But
left.
listen, as a conservative, if that's what if you want to be called piss pot, so be it. If that's what makes you happy, just don't call me piss pot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. That's all it is to it.
You know?
This is a free country. That one, if you want to be chose, that will be your name. Hey, man, more power to you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think that people always have a misconception about conservatives or Republicans is that we're just so like anti this. No, we're not anti anything really. We're just anti leave me alone. It was just like just leave me alone. I'll leave you alone. I don't judge you. You don't judge me, and call it a day. Freedom of religion. I don't. If they wanted to worship the meatball, I know that was a big thing a while ago about the worshiping a meatball. Hey, if you got a church and you want to worship meatballs, God bless.
Right.
Or sauce bless, whatever. That's your right to do so. So.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. Yeah, we see, and we don't come in and get in, and mess up their events that they throw, whatever. We leave them alone. Like, hey, we're conservatives. Hey, do what you want to do over there. If you want to wear vagina outfits and everything, that's all you. Like, do what you got to do. But when we do our stuff, give us the same respect. And they can't do that. It's like, and that to me that gives them the radical term that they're labeled with lately, and they deserve it because of the fact that's the matter. Because they're not doing like American citizens. There's freedom of speech. You got the right to say what you want to say, as long as you don't try to take anything from me or go invade my property or anything like that. You got the right to say what you want to say, but they don't want to give us that same respect. But we give them that courtesy. So
we're the adults. I mean, that's the way you gotta kind of look at it, and that's the way I look at the way they act too. Is that it's like the kids that used to start fights in like the lunchroom by the teachers. You know what I mean? Or in class, they would try to fight you in class because they knew the teacher was there to stop it.
Yeah.
And so they would look all big and bad because the teacher was there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But had that same conversation outside with no teachers, no parents around, the conversation is very different.
Of course. They're the ones on the ground crying from one punch. And he's like, what happened to that tough guy in front of the teacher?
That's kind of what I summed up to these people. They'll do this when there's other people there, when there's cameras rolling. You catch these people alone, they're so nice.
Of course. Of course.
Start talking to you about dogs and cats. Oh, yeah. That's it. I'm a candidate for the dogs.
I hear that, man. I hear that. Yeah, it definitely is true, man. It's
animal rights.
Yeah, right. And it's so funny, man. It's just so true, man. They're so true, and that's why you see Antifa when you see them. They're always attacking somebody elderly or little kids, and just people by themselves when they're 15 deep. And it's like, I know their types, man. Like I see them a million times. You guys, that's why you guys wear masks and wear black outfits at nighttime, late at night, because you can act like this and get away with it. And usually they got even the cops guarding them because De Blasio tells the cops you got to protect these guys. And it's just. Yeah. It's so backwards here, man. And like I said, we're going to bring change here and kind of educate, because the public's watching us right now from other states and they're realizing what's going on here. It's just time to get politicians in office now to kind of like, get that power behind the word. And that's what, what we're trying to do here. And it kind of brings me a little bit to my next question, which is I'm curious about, is like, when it comes to the president, what's your favorite thing that the president, in terms of, policies he's done or what he's done since he's been president, that you say, okay, this is a great thing that president's done for the country?
One of the biggest things about the president, I would say, is that he's blunt, and he uses Twitter.
Yes,
and I think that that's great because we're not getting a filtered, trickled down explanation. I want to hear it right from the horse's mouth. You know what I mean? So whatever he says on Twitter, it's not like Obama or Clinton or Bush where it's released during a press conference or something like that. No, he's talking directly to the people. And that's the way it should be. And, as technology changed, Twitter is the best outlet for him. So I think that's great.
I agree with you on that, man. He totally changed the game with Twitter, man. Like, he not only did he, for when it comes to politicians in the future running, but even me included, he's gave us people avenues, man, that, who just were in politics before.
For Trump.
Yeah. Same with me, brother. Same with me, man. And that's why it's like, I said, hate him or love him. Without him, man, people wouldn't know the extent of the corruption when it comes to the mainstream media, when it comes to the Democratic Party, the rhinos in the Republican Party. like, this, giving voices to a lot of American citizens who never had voices before. Like that alone, in my opinion, gives him a Nobel Peace Prize just for doing that. Because
Yeah.
before Trump, I didn't think that would be possible with a politician. I'm like, there's never gonna be a politician that's going in there and like, raise up the carpet in the White House and show people, hey, look what's going on in the mainstream media. Look what's going on with these established politicians. Look what's going on with all this pedophilia in Congress and in Hollywood. All this stuff. Before Trump, I would have said there's no way a politician would ever talk about this stuff, ever bring it up. So the fact that he did all of that alone, forget the policies he's already done, the First Step Act and, the lowest black unemployment in American history, all this stuff I can go on and on about policies he's done. But just the fact that he exposed so much, that's just like hands down. Give him, and the way he did it, the Trump way, the Trump's going to do it his way. So it's just awesome how he did it.
And that's why, that kind of trumps everything that he's done, because it's like, because we could hear him, and to me, like, if he told me, he did 5 things, but he was able to tell us the way he wanted to tell us, that was the best thing, is to hear him explain it. I mean, even at his rallies and things like that. I haven't been to his rally, but, we watch him every time he's on. We're always listening. Even the little side jokes you see with him and Barr. I mean, that's the president. I mean, this guy is great. At first, listen, I was skeptical at first too, just like everybody else. Listen, I'm from New York.
We all were, man. We all were.
But something clicked, and I was like, you know what, this guy's he's going to be good. And I know his father put him through the ringer, so it wasn't like he was handed anything really. His father really put him through the ringer. So
I mean, there's some people in New York that told me that they feel Trump saved New York.
Without a doubt. A lot of people forgot about like Woman's Rank and things like that he did. He really did build up this, even the Plaza Hotel. He really revamped this place. And listen, he pretty much almost grew up in the same neighborhood as me, because his father had buildings, the Trump buildings on Ocean Parkway.
Because his father had his name before him. So so I'm sure he had his father buildings. That's cool, man.
We'd see him and everything like that. From my neighborhood, a lot of people came from my neighborhood. In fact, Wiener, strange guy, that guy. He was always strange.
Oh, Pizzagate.
I was telling a story. Yeah. I mean, me and my sister, we hanging out, whatever, and he would look at my sister. And I remember my father chasing him numerous times, because he used to ride around his bicycle, like in Homecrest. He used to live on Homecrest in Neck Road. Such a strange guy, man. Everybody used to chase that guy. Everybody chased him. I'm talking about all the older guys in the neighborhood chase that guy down.
Wow. So this is interesting. This is information a lot of people don't know right here, folks. This is some local New Yorker information right here, man.
Yeah. And nobody liked him. Everybody, how did this guy win? He's such a weirdo. But and he lived on Homecrest, Teen Tree. He lived on Homecrest, which is a block away.
Wow, man.
We used to be like, oh, look at this guy. Look at this guy. You believe he's a politician now?
Wow, no, man, it's so crazy, because he's one of those guys. One of the few times where you can say, like, the name fits the person, man. Like, you hear his name, of course you're gonna think, like, what the heck? And then you see his character, and you're like, this guy is a freaking, oh my gosh, what a creepy dude this guy is, man. So yeah, he really is. To all the way to the T, man. Like, what a freaking wiener, man. This guy is such a weirdo. And I'm glad he got exposed, man, because people like that, man, and politics was full, and it still has people out there, of course, out there like that. But before Trump, man, these guys are the ones running the farm, man. They're the ones out there doing what they did. Like, nobody stopping them, nobody, punishing them for what they were doing. So I'm just glad that we have a president in there, man. That's, like I said, he's busted more sex trafficking rings than any president in American history, and nobody
talk about it.
Nobody ever talks about that, and that's something. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, male, female, gay, straight, Muslim, Jew, Christian. Everybody should come together and say, yes, that's wrong, period.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the Democrats are pushing, they're trying to push for the rest of society to accept it as, like, this is a norm. It's a mental disorder. It's not a mental disorder. It's, to me, it's not. It's just, there's a criminal. You're a criminal. Yeah. You're a bad guy. As simple as that. Or woman, because it goes
true.
both.
Not forget.
So, yeah. And then listen, they have these people dead to rights on video talking about what they're doing, how they did it, even with the abortions with Planned Parenthood. everything's out there. I mean, I just hope people could find it for themselves because I can't push anything. I can't talk about anything. So
I totally understand.
that
I totally
Forbes thing, it has something to do with the Soros. I don't know. Maybe.
understand.
How did
That's
that from
Soros
Brooklyn
money,
just
man.
end up in Forbes like that? I don't know.
Right,
Can't poke
right,
the bear,
right.
that's it.
Oh no, man. You know how the establishment left, man. How they work, man. They're gonna do whatever it takes, man. Like I give the one thing I'll give the Democratic Party and the left credit for is, man, is they'll get together and they'll do whatever it takes to take somebody out, man. Like
Yeah.
yeah, and it's crazy how far they'll go and how drastic they'll go to do it, man. But they do unite, man. As crazy as they are, they make one phone call and they have freaking 100 Antifa in front of your house in 2 seconds.
Yeah, I
So
know. But they think that they're scaring people, which is hilarious.
yeah,
Uh,
these little frail college kids, you know what I mean? That
yeah.
never worked a day in their life, and
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
even their political games, I mean, I think that when they deal with people like you and I, where we're not politicians and we don't play with their same political games, they don't have a game plan on how to deal with us. You know what I mean? So they have to work through other parties and try to come back around. But then if you don't care what the other party says anyway, then it's like, I don't care. Do whatever you
yep,
gotta do.
yeah,
Come talk to me in person.
and you're 100% right on that. They don't know what to do with us, man. I noticed that too. Like even when I had a New York Red rally in front of Trump Tower when they did the Black Lives Matter mural or whatever in front of there,
Yeah.
and I went out there
Just,
and like, yeah, and I
that
got
was
all
great.
kinds
They
of New
couldn't
Yorkers.
say anything to you.
No, they couldn't. And I had all, like
Great.
my part in the CRA. If you ever come to an event, hope you do one day, man.
Yeah.
You'll see we have. It looks like New York City. It's Hispanics, blacks, whites,
Yeah.
Jewish, everything you think of New York City. We're all in the group. Man.
Biracials.
Yeah, biracial, everything. Of course, Puerto Rican. Shout out my man Angel. Everybody was out there. And when they did Black Lives Matter came out, it was like two black people and the rest were white. And they looked at us like, how do we even do this? And I'm like, and I was trolling a little bit. I got the loudspeaker and I was just like, where's your black people? Like, where are they? Like, this is Black Lives Matter. I don't see any black people. Like, what's going on? And like, they just looked at me like, how to respond. And then I started going through the history of the both parties and all this. I knew my stuff, and they didn't have nothing. They had nothing for us, man. They had absolutely nothing.
Now,
So
they call me a racist. It's hilarious. They say, "Oh, you're a racist." Like, yeah, I hate you, mom. Like, what are you talking about? So, like, just because your mom's black, that doesn't mean you can't be a racist. Like,
okay, so I guess
right.
so Obama can be so Obama can be a racist then, since his mom was white and his dad was black. So you can call him a racist then in that case. No,
Yeah, him
God
and
forbid, do that.
him and Mike over there, right?
Oh yeah, Michael and I.
Michael and I.
Oh man, that's a whole different conversation right there, brother. Man, we
Yeah.
get some
Listen,
angry leftists on this one, but that kind of
I'm conservative. Do whatever you want. Just
hey, man, exactly, man. Freedom of speech, man. That's why we have it. You know what I mean? And at one time, we were in a country where we could joke like that, and it wouldn't be a big deal without having cancel culture come after us. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, times have changed.
But also back to that is what they're doing to our kids in school is they're trying to push this at a very young age, like preschool. They're trying to push these different genders, and it's okay to dress this way and do this. And then I don't think it's the time or place for that, personally.
You gotta let a kid be a kid, man. Like, we understood even when we were young and we did sex ed, we didn't have, the LGBTQ agenda when I was coming up. But when we got taught sex ed, it was, middle school, 8th grade time frame. They started giving us little tidbits here and there. So it's just like, and it is new back then. It's like, it's not about, respecting gay people or heterosexuals. It's not about that. It's just like, you're a kid. So it's like, you should be talking about sex, period. From a man and a woman, a man and a man, a woman and a woman. It shouldn't be no conversation at all. And they are so adamant about pushing their narrative and their agenda that they're willing to go to kindergarten and start pushing it. It's because they feel like if we can brainwash a child that early, then even when they get older and they hear the conservative ideology and values, it's going to be too late. We're going to have them brainwashed by that time. So by the time they hit 6th grade, hopefully they'll be already brainwashed to the extent where they won't change their mind. So all they're focused on is getting votes, man, and changing and pushing a narrative. That's all the left cares about. They don't care about lives. They don't care about children being children. They don't care about none of that stuff.
No, you can't, because it's unfair to someone who's in a single parent household. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the way they'll flip it. That you're the bad person. Well, listen, my parents were divorced very young. I didn't feel any way when there was a mom and dad together with their kids. So what? You're going to be my father on the weekend.
Right.
I'm going to be with my mother on the weekend. And you know what? I'm going to get toys because I haven't seen my mom all week. You know,
No, I hear you, man. I hear you. And like I said, this country was rolling like
two
that for
Christmases.
all right. Exactly. You know what I mean? Well, look at the bright side, man. Look at the bright
Yeah,
side of things. No, it's I
it's always
totally
their
agree,
fault.
man. I totally agree, man. Like that's why I love conservative ideology with its traditional family values, man. And like, of
Yeah,
course, when you say traditional family values, of course, it's a mother and father type setup. But in America, things happen, man. Parents get divorced, things. And even when that happens, you can still have that a traditional kind of family setup. It doesn't have to, totally end right there. It's like people don't understand. Like it's just with a lot, especially young men. It's like, especially in the black community, I see it. It's like all a lot of them need is a father figure. Like it doesn't have to be their father. If their father's out of life and doesn't want to do nothing with them or whatever, he's in jail or killed or whatever it may be. You can put an uncle there or a close friend that could be that father figure. It's just it's all about having a father figure, and that to me is still fitting that traditional family role in setup. Even though it's not a husband and wife, it could be just a single mother with a close sibling that's a brother who's coming in and playing the father the best he can.
yeah.
So we just need to
But
get to
tough
that way
love,
of
I
thinking.
think tough love is also missing from a lot of these households. So even if you did have that father figure, tough love, you gotta have tough love. I mean, I'm a firm believer in tough love. I mean,
Oh
that's
no.
what I was raised with.
Well, that's our
My
generation
father
was
was very
raised.
stern. But yeah, well, there's a lot of differences though. We didn't have the internet. If we had to look something up, we had to whip out the encyclopedia, go to the library, and go through the index cards and
No,
the
no, no,
school book.
remember the Dewey Decimal System.
No, wait, was that the owl thing? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I remember there's a Dewey Decimal System when you go to the public library. They have all the index cards you got to
Yeah,
flip
yeah,
through and
yeah.
all that. That's what they called that, the Dewey Decimal System. And
Yeah, I don't remember it.
yeah, man,
That might
yeah,
be a
yeah,
Maryland thing. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. That could be a Maryland thing.
Yeah. So, but that's how we got our information, right?
Yeah, definitely, man.
It was simple,
Definitely.
simpler times. You know.
Yeah, when we had to ride our bikes in the neighborhood, and you had to
Mhm.
find your friends by looking at all the bikes in the front
Right.
yard, and be like, "Oh, there they are."
Yeah, yeah.
No
You had to
cell phones, no nothing.
troop it around the neighborhood. But so these kids stay home and they play the internet and stuff like that. Which is, hey, listen, that's the way times change. You know what I mean? And you got to roll with it. But that doesn't mean that if you sit home and you play video games that you can't change a light bulb. You know what I mean? There's no trades anymore. We can't find anybody. I can't find any young guys or girls, and I hire everybody. I think I'm like the only private electrical contractor that hires women, because
No.
nobody really does. And they thank you. Nobody wanted to hire me. That's sad. That's like sad. But listen, nobody wants to work. I can't find anybody that wants to work. Paying them good wages too.
Wow. See
But
that
that's
that
another thing.
10 years ago, that would have been unheard of in this country, man. 10 years ago,
But
unheard
that's
of.
another thing too is that with being a business owner and you hear about like the equal opportunity and affirmative action and things like that, it's like, hold on, you say everything's racist, 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 but there's set asides, there's goals that the government has to do to ensure that they gave enough work to a minority-owned business or a woman-owned business. To me, the concept itself is racist. Because you're saying that, listen, we have all this work, taxpayer-funded jobs, and we're willing to pay just the minority-owned business, but not anybody. You know what I mean? I think it's got to just be level. You can't claim racism when there's set-asides. You know what I mean? What made somebody who's a minority-owned business? What did they do different in their life than I did? You know what I mean?
Very
I
true.
could claim that card. Right? I could claim that card, but what's the difference? I shouldn't have to. It should be, you bid work, you get the work. You give a good number, and especially the government should be looking at the best, lowest qualified bid. It should be looking to spend $500,000, $1 million more just so they could meet their quota of giving this to minority only owned business. That doesn't make any sense. Not, as a fiscal conservative as well, that doesn't make any sense. And it's making it seem like there is racism because they keep bringing. I don't know about you, but the racism thing is relatively new. You know what I mean? Like it had died for a very long time. I don't remember even hearing about this stuff, like especially in the '90s.
In the '90s,
You know what I
unheard
mean?
of, man. I grew up in the '90s. Like I said, when I grew up in this country, My dad was military. He was the highest ranked officer on the base. I
Nice.
lived in Germany for 5 years, saw the Berlin Wall fall as a little boy, came to the States
Wow.
in 91 in Maryland, grew up in the 90s in America. And I'd never in my second of my life said, white people have privilege over me and I'll never be able to do this or that because of my skin color. My dad said, this is America. If anything you want to do in this country, you can do it. Just, work hard and put your mind to it and you can get it accomplished.
Right.
And that's how I lived my life in America. When I lived my life like that growing up, America gave me the gift. If I worked hard enough, I put my mind to it, I got what I received. If I tried something and I didn't put my full effort into it, I didn't get what I needed, and I knew it was my fault. I didn't say, "Oh, it's because I'm black." I was like, "No, I know I didn't work hard enough."
Right.
It's nothing to do with black skin, man. But now that we're living in a generation where it's like, if that happens to me, and I'm like, "Well, I didn't work hard enough," people tell me, "Oh, no, it's not that you didn't work hard enough; it's because you're
Right.
black."
'Cause- yeah.
And they had white privilege. And I'm like, give me a freaking break, man. Like I had white friends growing up, man. I competed with them just as much as I competed with my black friends or Hispanic friends. It was like, I didn't look at them like, I'll never be able to beat you guys in this football game because you're privileged. Like, come on, give me a freaking break.
Yeah.
Like, so now they're telling me as a grown man that, oh, no, Chris, you didn't understand all these years living in this country. It wasn't you
It's
got up this
subliminal.
far.
It's subliminal. They love saying
Come
that.
on, man. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Give me a
The only
break.
thing subliminal is what Disney does in their movies.
Real talk, man. Real talk. Like again, man, that's another whole interview right there, man. But it's true though, man. It's true. And it's like, so I see, that's why when I see these young people out here, 21, 22, talking about I'm oppressed and it's the white man owes me reparations. And I'm like, for what? For what? You're younger than me. You're 10 years younger than me. I don't deserve reparations for nothing. My grandfather grew up in the South and he dealt with real deal stuff back down there in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And he never complained and he never played victim. He never asked for reparations. So he actually dealt with it. He just said he didn't want reparations. So, 70 years later, when his grandson comes in the world, I live a perfectly easy out life. And now I deserve his reparations for what happened to him that he didn't even want. Come on. Come on. Give me a break.
Yeah.
So
I had to deal with racism, believe it or not. It was very weird. But because my mom's black and my father's Italian, so my father would kick me out. I'd have to go to Flatbush and live with my mom. So in Flatbush, I was a white boy.
Right? Yeah,
But
heavy West
then
Indian.
I couldn't hang out with everybody because I was black. You know what I mean? Because you had racism. And everybody's like, "Oh no, black people aren't racist." Yeah, they're racist. White people aren't racist. Yeah, no, they're racist there too. You know what I mean? So I had a mixed up racism growing up. You know what I mean?
No, and that's the thing. Like I talk to blacks all the time. Like I grew up, of course, black family, and I had black people around me, cousins, friends, and everything like that. And I hear them talk about white people sometimes in some very derogatory ways. You know what I mean? Like no F's given in some modern terms.
No, you can't say that on the internet here. You must be mistaken.
Yeah, no, it's not black people. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I've seen racism from black people, Hispanics. I see Hispanics within their own community. Like, get a Dominican and a Mexican together and it's going to be beef, you know what I mean? And so it's like, racism is just, somebody's not the same skin color as you and you show hate towards them and that's it. And that's, so anybody can do that, man. We're all capable of being racist. Nobody has a privilege so high that, only they can be the racist. It's like anybody can be a racism, man, at the end of the day. So, we got to get this way of thinking of, I call people all the time, it's the evil white male way of thinking. Like everything is, they try to point at, get to, well, it's the evil white man, that's causing all of this, and that's why I debate people who are black on the conservative side, or not even conservative, just black people in general. When I debate them, they always, they always try to get to like the white police officer thing. And I'm like, stop talking about the white male, ghost underneath your bed or whatever, this creature you're trying to create. And they look at me like, what are you talking about? And they kind of look and they know I'm speaking the truth. I'm like, because it's all with you, all you're trying to do is get back to the white male thing. That's all you're trying to do with this conversation. You're not trying to say, you know what, I could improve this, or you know what, we as a community need to change this. It always goes back to playing victim. And the best way for blacks, a lot of times on the left especially, to play victim is to say the white man this, the white man that, Trump now. But that's so kind of goes in the same category. But
yeah. And they don't like the truth. They don't like the statistics. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They always, what they say, that the old saying is, lie to a conservative and he'll get angry. Tell the truth to a liberal and they'll get mad.
That's true. Hey man, that's very true, man. That's very true.
Yeah, I live my life by these little quotes. Like, you can't hit a home run if you don't swing the bat. That's why I look at this whole thing.
Yeah, that's truth, man. And a lot of older people, man, I remember growing up telling me all these those little catchphrases like that. It kind of went through in one ear and out the other a little bit. But now, as an adult, I hear them. I could go back to those phrases, and I'm like, man, they were telling me, something
Yeah.
really. They were trying to prepare me for something, man. I wish, So
Like I got
shout
a
out to
half
the.
full cup of coffee over here.
Hey, I hear you, brother. I hear you, man. But look, man, this has been a great conversation with you, man.
Yeah,
I
vice
mean,
versa.
I really enjoyed this. You know what I mean? We got a lot of patriots tuning in, and they really enjoyed what you had to say. So what I want to do now is this is my final question for you, and it's pretty much how can voters get involved in spreading the word or volunteering for your campaign, and what's the best way to contact you?
Best way is the Twitter, or well, actually, that's not the best way. Best way is Facebook or email, or my website is DeFillippo. It's my last name, so DEFI. Well, I'll do it in military. So Delta Echo Foxtrot India Lima Lima India Peru Peru October dot November Yankee Charlie. So .nyc. It's a cool website. DeFillippo.nyc or DeFillippo for Senate on Facebook. My Twitter name, I don't remember. I think it's DeFillippo or Justin DeFillippo one. I don't know. You would probably know more than I would.
Yeah, you know what? Give me 1 second, everybody out there listening, because I can do that because I got it right here. Because I didn't tag you, but I mentioned our conversation and my friend tagged, so he put it's Justin DeFillippo 1, and that's I do it military. It's D Delta, E as in Echo, F as in Frank, I as in Indy, L as in Lance, L as in Lance, I as in Indy, P as in Peter, the number 1. So it's and that before that is Justin. So it's Justin DeFillippo 1, and that's your Twitter.
Yeah, rock and roll.
All right, man.
You gotta
So
get used to the internet. You know what I mean?
and it takes time. It takes time. It takes a little time, man. Like I mean, I was familiar with technology before this, but I was never a big fan of social media. But once my first video went viral, I started CRA. I had to be a part of it at that point. So I had to learn as I went along, and I've learned a lot. But it's a process, man. It is definitely a process for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, rock and roll, man. I appreciate it, and I'm
Nah,
definitely
Justin,
looking
man.
forward to meeting you at one of these rallies. I missed out to one in my old stomping ground, Marine Park, this weekend. But listen, I'm
Oh,
not a
that was a
politician.
turnout,
I'm
man.
not
That was
silver
quite a
spoon.
turnout.
I was working on my cause, literally.
Yeah,
So
doing that American stuff, man. Like we need more alpha males in this country back, man, working on cars. Doing work, man, getting things done, man. Because we got all these beta male liberals walking around here, sitting on the train with their legs crossed and with the feminine
yeah,
little voices. I gotta go in details, man. You know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
But man, I also
All right, man.
appreciate you taking time out your day, man, to sit down with me. Like I said, this is our first time. This is it's so new. I got to kind of look at the notes here to kind of get, it's the local election series, man. It's our first episode of the series, and it was a pleasure, man. Sitting down with a real American, a real New Yorker here, and helping you get your message out there, man. And best of luck for you in your campaign, and hopefully we'll
Thanks,
see
man.
you in the Congress soon enough, man, in the Senate.
Rock and roll. Thanks, man.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
thank you, Justin, man. You enjoy the rest of your day, brother.
You too. All right.
All right, peace.